So, hello, classmates. The chapter that I'm focusing on is chapter 16. Getting ready for the night. This chapter was very interesting to me because I felt like it was the most revealing chapter aside from chapter 21, Kelly letter to Mr. Gillingham. So I'm going to start reading the passage, and then I'll break off at times, and then I'll tell you what certain parts stuck out to me. So, from the beginning, he had seen this answer coming and had drawn back from it. For if Mark had been killed, it seemed such a cold-blooded killing. Was Kelly equal to it? Bill would have said no, but that was because he had breakfast with Kelly, he had lunch with him, dinner with him, he ragged him and played games with him. Bill would have said no because Bill wouldn't have killed anybody in cold blood himself. And because he took it for granted that other people behaved pretty much as he did, that's pretty naive. But Anthony had no such illusions. Murders were done. Murder had actually been done here, for there was Robert's dead body. Why not another murder? To me, I felt like that statement and those words were meant to say that, if someone killed somebody here already, obviously somebody's dead. What are the chances that it would not happen again? It is only because, the people are feeling like they are incapable of doing this type of things. And that's pretty naive because here you have a dead body on the ground. I'll continue reading. Had Mark had been in the office that afternoon, the only evidence, other than Kelly's, which obviously did not count, was Elsie's. Elsie was quite certain that she had heard his voice. But then, Bill had said that it was a very characteristic voice, an easy voice, therefore, to imitate. If Bill could imitate it so successfully, why wouldn't Kelly? Another good point. Kelly being so close to Mark could probably basically imitate him pretty well because they are closely associated on a daily basis. I'm going to continue with my reading. But perhaps it had not been such a cold-blooded killing after all. Suppose Kelly had had a quarrel with his cousin that afternoon over a girl whom they were both wooing. Suppose Kelly had killed Mark, either purposely, in sudden passion, or accidentally, meaning only to knock him down. Suppose that this had happened in the passage, say about 2 o'clock, either because Kelly had deliberately led him there or because Mark had casually suggested a visit to it. One could imagine Mark continually gloating over that secret passage. Suppose Kelly there, with the body at his feet, feeling already the rope around his neck, his mind darting this and that way, in a frantic search for a way of escape, and suppose that suddenly and irrelevantly he remembers that Robert was coming to the house at 3 o'clock. That's only 1 hour is different. Automatically, he looks at his watch. In a half hour's time, he must think of something quickly. Shall he bury the body in the passage and let it be thought that Mark ran away, frightened at the mere thought of his brother's arrival? But there was the evidence of the breakfast table. Mark had seemed annoyed at the resurrection of the black sheep, but certainly he wasn't frightened. No, that was too thin of a story. But suppose Mark had actually seen his brother and had a quarrel with him. Suppose it could have made it look as if Robert had killed Mark. Anthony pictured to himself Kelly in the passage, standing over a dead body of his cousin and working it out. How could Robert be made to seem the murderer if Robert were alive to deny it? But suppose Robert were dead too. So I felt like he was thinking, well, if Kelly had killed Mark and Kelly wanted to make it seem as if Robert killed Mark, then he would have to kill both of them. That's just the obvious. That states the obvious. Anthony pictured to himself. Okay, I'm going to continue with my reading. He looks at his watch again. Only 25 minutes now. Suppose Robert were dead too. Robert dead in the office, Mark dead in the passage. How does that help? Madness. But if the bodies were brought together somehow and Robert's death looked like suicide, could that have been possible? No. Madness again. Too difficult. Only 20 minutes now. Too difficult to arrange in 20 minutes. Can't arrange a suicide. It's too difficult. Only 19 minutes. And then a sudden inspiration. Robert dead in the office. Mark's body hidden in the passage. It's impossible to make Robert seem the murderer, but how easy is it to make Mark? Robert dead, Mark missing. Wyatt jumped to the eye at once. Mark had killed Robert accidentally. Yes, that would be more likely. And then had to run away. Sudden panic. He looks at his watch again. 15 minutes, but plenty of time now. The thing arranges itself. Was that the solution? Anthony wondered. It seemed to fit in with the facts as they knew them. But then, so did the other theory, which he had suggested to Bill in the morning. Which one? Said Bill. They had come back from Jalen's through the park and were sitting at the copse above the pond from which the inspector and his fishermen had now withdrawn. Bill had listened with open mouth to Anthony's theory, and save for an occasional "by Jove." He had listened in silence. Smart man, Kelly. He had been his only comment at the end. Smart man, Kelly. So to me, I feel that Anthony was suspicious the whole time of Kelly. It was just like the more and more evidence that he gathered, the more facts that came about, the more ways that these different theories formed in his head, he just became more enlightened on the situation. But he calls Kelly a smart man, which brings me to the letter that Kelly wrote to Anthony at the end, revealing, what happened, what really happened with the case. And it was just that just pieced together so perfectly for me. Because Kelly kind of asked in the letter what it was kind of like a sort of praise, like he wanted him to praise him, for him to say, you got me, or I was puzzled, or whatever. I'm trying to find that little tiny portion to support what I'm saying right now. So, just give me 2 seconds. Okay. So, I'll look for it, but it was in the letter that he wrote to. Okay, this is where he says, and this is where I'm tying my things together. He says, "Can you imagine, Mr. Gillingham, the shock which your sudden appearance gave me? Can you imagine the feeling of a murderer who has, as he thinks, planned for every possibility and then confronted suddenly with an utterly new problem? What difference would your coming make? I didn't know. Perhaps none. Perhaps all. And I had forgotten to open the window. I don't know whether you think my plan for killing Mark was a clever one. Perhaps not. But I do deserve praise in the matter. I think I deserve it for the way I pulled myself together in the face of an unexpected catastrophe of your arrival." That right there, it just ties everything together. So, Anthony already called him a smart man. But in some way, I feel like even though Kaylee wasn't there to even speak with Anthony, he spoke to him through the letter. And it kind of validates that Anthony did have some sort of emotional feelings towards Kaylee, in the sense that he called him a smart man. It ain't saying he loved him, but that right there pieced the whole story together for me. And I hope you enjoyed my podcast, and I look forward to reviewing some of my fellow classmates' podcasts. This book was very interesting. It had me on the edge of my seat. Really, really, like, I would say the second chapter, because the dead body and the end of the first chapter. But anyway, thank you all, and I really, really love this novel right here. Thank you.